Hi, Assalamualaikum, and good morning to all of you. My name is Muhammad Azhar bin Muhammad Farid. My metric number is 9211-0307 5475001. In this module, English for Oral Communications, I came up with the idea of speech about one of the mystery aspects of nature, which is the volcano and the catastrophe of volcanic eruptions. Have you heard about volcano? Volcano is an opening in the Earth's crust through which release the lava, volcanic ash, and also gases. The volcanic eruptions are partly driven by pressure from dissolved gas, and this can be seen much as escaping gas force the cork of a bottle of champagne. Pop! Just like that. Beneath a volcano, the liquid magma containing dissolved gases rise to cracks in the Earth's crust. As the magma rises, pressure decreases, allowing the gas to form bubbles. The magma we call lava behave when it reaches the surface depends on both its gas content and chemical compositions. Lava with low silica contents have low viscosities and flow freely, allowing any gas bubbles to escape readily, while lava with high silica contents are more viscous, so that any trapped gas cannot escape gradually. Let me introduce you to one of the oldest volcanoes in the world. This is Mount Etna, the oldest volcano in the world which are still active. And this is the eruption of the Mount Etna. Mount Etna or Etna is an active volcano on the east coast of Sicily, Italy, in the metropolitan city of Catania, between the cities of Messina and Catania. It lies above the convergent plate margin between the African plate and the Eurasian plate. Some 75% of the world's active volcanoes are positioned around the ring of fire, a 25,000-mile long horseshoe-shaped zone that stretches from the southern tip of South America across the west coast of North America through the Bering Sea to Japan and on to New Zealand. This region is where the edge of the Pacific and Nazca plate butt up against an array of other tectonic plates. Importantly, however, the volcanoes of the ring are not geologically connected. In other words, a volcanic eruption in Indonesia is not related to one in Alaska, and it could not stir the infamous Yellowstone supervolcano. In Malaysia, we only have one active volcano, which is Bombalay volcano in northeast Borneo is the only volcano considered still possibly active. Although its last eruptions might have been thousands of years ago, it is located close to the border with Indonesia in the Malaysian province of Sabah, across Kowi border from the Indonesian province of Kalimantan. Bombalay Sindakon is part of a large volcanic field on the Semporna Peninsula in the northeast of Borneo. Bombalay has a 300-meter wide crater bridge to the south and two young lava flows extending almost to the coast. A lot of volcanoes can be seen in our neighbor country, which is Indonesia, and they are still active. In this month, on 19 February, the Mount Merapi in Yogyakarta erupts and spews lava. The nearby residents were told to avoid the area within a 5-kilometer radius of the crater and were warned about the lava as well as airborne volcanic material. The Mount Merapi's last major eruption in 2010 killed more than 300 people and forced the evacuation of around 280,000 residents from surrounding areas. That was its most powerful eruption since 1930, when around 1,300 people were killed, while another explosion in 1994 took about 60 lives. The deadliest eruptions in recorded history was the 1815 explosion of Mount Tambora in Indonesia. The blast was one of the most powerful ever documented and created a caldera, essentially a crater 4 miles across and more than 3,600 feet deep. A superheated plump of hot ash and gas shot 28 miles into the sky, producing numerous pyroclastic flows when it collapsed. The eruptions and its intermediate dangers killed around 10,000 people, but that wasn't its only impact. The volcanic ash and gas injected into that atmosphere obscured the sun and increased the reflectivity of the earth, cooling its surface and causing what's known as the year without a summer. Starvation and disease during this time killed some 82,000 more people, and the gloomy conditions are often credited as the inspirations for Gothic horror tales such as Mary Shelley Frankenstein. Although there have been several big eruptions in recorded history, volcanic eruptions today are no more frequent than they were a decade or even a century ago. At least a dozen volcanoes erupt on any given day. As monitoring capacity for volcanic eruptions increase, the coverage of the activity more frequently appear in the news and social media. The catastrophe of the volcanic eruptions brings disaster to the local nearby, including polluted the environment, thus affecting the climate change. The volcanic eruptions can be extremely damaging to the environment, particularly because of number of toxic gas possibly present in the pyroclastic material. It typically consists mainly of water vapor, but it also contains carbon dioxide and sulfur dioxide gas. Other gas typically found in volcanic ash are hydrogen sulfide, hydrogen chloride, hydrogen fluoride, carbon monoxide, and volatile metal chlorides. Carbon dioxide emitted from volcanoes adds to the natural greenhouse effect. Sulfur dioxide cause environmental problems because they are converted to sulfuric acid in the stratosphere, the main cause of acid rain. Furthermore, sulfate aerosols are formed which reflect solar radiation and absorb heat, thereby cooling the earth. Sulfate aerosols also take part in chemical reactions, forming ozone-destructive material. There are different types of volcanic eruptions. The first one is periodic, which is explosion of steam, water, ash, and rock as magma comes in contact with groundwater or surface water. Second one is the rhyolite flow, which the high silica lava is much bigger with a 68%. The third one is the basalt flow, which is the low silica lava that usually has a higher magnesium and iron content. The next one is the pyroclastic flow, which is the fast moving hot ash, gas and rock. The last one is the lahar, which is the mud flow of pyroclastic material into a river valley. The volcanic eruptions can be both positive and negative effects. In the positive effects, the geothermal energy is where the heat from within the earth is used to generate electricity. Geothermal energy can be generated in areas where magma lies close to the surface. This is good for increasing the renewable energy use. Besides that, the ash ejected by the volcano acts as a good fertilizer for the soils, and this caused the local to live nearby the volcano. Not only that, the volcanoes attract many tourists who enjoy the dramatic scenery that they produce. On my experience throughout my honeymoon at Bali, the Kitamani volcano gives us nice scenery as the local build their residence in volcanic areas despite the risk of the eruptions. This is because volcanic rock and ash provide fertile land, which results in a higher crop yield for farmers, and minerals are contained in lava, example diamonds, which can be mined to make money. Besides that, tourists are attracted to the volcano, which increases the money to the local economy. And yes, alongside the route to the Kitamani volcano, A lot of business can be seen, and they even got a coffee house nearby with a nice view of Kitamani volcano. Just imagine by staring the scenery with a cup of luwak coffee. And for your information, luwak coffee is the most expensive coffee at Bali. For the negative effects, we know that volcanoes are dangerous and it can kill people and damage the property. The volcanic eruptions can result in additional threats to the health, such as floods, mudslides, power outage, drinking water contaminations, and wildfires. Health concerns after a volcanic eruptions include infectious disease, respiratory illness, burns, injuries from falls, and vehicle accidents related to the slippery, hazy conditions such as which were caused by ash. When warnings are heeded, the chance of adverse health effects from a volcanic eruptions are very low. Exposure to the ash can be harmful. Infants, elderly people, and people with respiratory conditions such as asthma, emphysema, and other chronic lung disease may have problems if they breathe in the volcanic ash. Ash is gritty, abrasive, and sometimes corrosive, and always unpleasant. Small ash particles can scratch the front of the eye. Ash particles may contain silica crystalline, a material that causes a respiratory disease called silicosis. Besides that, economic activity can suffer as it is hard for business to operate after any eruptions. This is because the eruptions destroy all the property, and to start the business all over again, they need to start from zero. And not only that, habitats and landscapes are damaged by the lava flows. Plants are destroyed over a wide area during an eruption. The good thing is that volcanic soil is very rich, so once everything cools off, the plants can make a big comeback. Livestock and other mammals have been killed by the lava flows. Pyroclastic flows, tetrafalls, atmospheric effects, gases, and tsunami. They can also die from famine, forest fires, and earthquakes caused by or related to the eruptions. The Mount St. Helens provides an example. The Washington's Department of Game estimates that 11,000 hares, 6,000 deers, 5,200 elk, 1,400 coyotes, 300 bobcats, 200 black bears, and 15 mountain lions died from the pyroclastic flows of the 1918 eruptions. Aquatic life can be affected by an increase in acidity, increased turbidity, change in temperature, and change in the food supply. All these factors can damage or kill the aquatic life. The eruptions also can influence the bird migrations, roosting, flying abilities, and feeding activities. The impact of eruptions on insects depends on the size of the eruptions and the stage of growth of the insects. For examples, ash can be very abrasive to winds. As a conclusion, in today's era, there are 1,508 active volcanoes around the world. Each year, some 50 to 60 of them erupt. Around 800 million people live within volcanic risk zones. Volcanologists study and monitor volcanoes so that we can try to forecast future eruptions and predict how widely the damage could reach. By studying past and current eruptions, volcanologists constantly refine our ability to predict and mitigate the hazards and risks associated with the volcanic activities. But people who live within the range of volcanic hazard also can minimize their risks. All the residents of this zone should develop household plans for evacuating or sheltering in place and prepare emergency kits with the first aid supplies, essentials, medicines, food, and also water. Events like the kilowatt eruptions are reminders that preparing before natural disaster can make communities more resilient when these events strike. Thank you. That's all, folks. Bye.